We had a true assembly line in the studio, and that's how we were able to get so many cartoons out so fast. You know, there's quite a range of characters at Hanna Barbera. There's Johnny Quest, and there's Huckleberry Hanna, and the Flintstones. That's quite a range of style. Not all artists could cover those bases. So we would hire people who would specialize in either funny or adventure style.
What you do here?
The design of the characters, there were big, easy characters, colorful characters, bright colors, limited movement, but funny stories, funny gags, funny situations. Get it down on paper, make it funny, and people will watch it.
So each show had a lot of designs to be done. And not only single drawings, but turnarounds and action poses. So it kept us all really busy.
Model sheets are for the animators to look at so they know what the character looks like from all sides. They do a turnaround on the characters and all the props that the story needs, and model sheets are all cleaned up with a nice line.
When I was doing layouts, I never drew a character without the model sheet in my hand. I never relied on my memory, because if you do that too often, the character won't look like the character. It'll look like your version of the character.
Well, usually we would start with just trying to design the characters, what they're going to look like. And, you know, whenever I would design or create a character, I tend to do overweight characters like myself. But one time Joe said to me, he was leaving the cubicle, he said, "Hey, stop making all the characters fat like you."
The first character that I'm aware of having designed for Hanna Barbera was on the Flintstones. A character called the Great Gazoo, who was a character from outer space. The next major one was on the Jetsons, and it was the dog, Astra. Those are the two that were probably the major early character designs that I created for Hanna Barbera.
Follow me. There's another warlock on the loose.
The writing was all done on storyboards. There wasn't anyone there who just typed out scripts. We didn't even go to an outline stage.
My first assignment when I showed up was to report to Mr. Barbera's office and for us to figure out what the pilot episode of the Jetsons would be, bringing it back into syndication.
The logos were my designs. I am proud to say, for instance, I designed the signature logo of Hanna Barbera. That was based on Joe's and Bill's signatures. Now, prior to this signature logo, we had a star logo, but that was not really the official logo. They wanted to see the word Hanna Barbera more predominant.
I got a great idea, Scoob. You go first, and I'll be right behind you.
Ewo and myself and another fellow named Jack Hubert, we were a layout team. They used to have teams of 3 people per episode. So we'd each do an act. It would be like 3 acts for the half-hour show.
As a layout artist, initially we do the blueprinting of the film. We do a lot of the planning for the animators, like camera moves and where you would truck in and pan and scene cuts. And then, of course, set up the characters and poses and make sure it's on model.
At Hanna Barbera, we did the inking with a brush and ink instead of with a pen and ink, and a stylus to hold down the cell. And we wore a glove on one hand, but the fingers were cut out because that's where you held the brush. We would get the drawing, put it on a board, put a piece of cell on top of it, and then ink every drawing. And then from there on, it went over to the paint department. Bill Hanna and his father made a lot of the ink and paint desks. All the ink and paint girls had desks, I think, that Bill Hanna and his father made.
Bill was very talented. He's actually quite a musician himself, a singer as well, and he composed.
Kids, I'd like you to meet my pianist and arranger. He's the best in the business.
Bill would just kind of give Hoyt just a couple little lines like Flintstone, here's Flintstone.
Flintstones, meet the Flintstones. They're toiling away on this show, and lo and behold, a lyric would appear on your desk, and you'd get a little phone call from Bill saying, "Yeah, I worked on this lyric, and I kind of had this idea for the melody. You might want to consider this for your show." It was great.
Scooby, Shaggy, what is it?
It's a film. He was after the music.
I don't get it. What's so important about this song?
When I was a kid, and the minute I heard that music come on, I'd come like a lightning bolt to the TV set, and I'd be glued to it.
You hear that theme song, you perk up and you come running to catch the show. And I think Hanna-Barbera cartoons had that hallmark. When you think about the Jetsons' main title, or Johnny Quest's main title, or the Flintstones, or Yogi Bear, those main title songs were catchy, and they brought you running.
I hope we're not too late for the recording session.
Well, I call it the golden age of voiceovers for animation, because those people who in the 40s and 50s and even 60s were doing a lot were now getting on, but we had them for this last decade, and we had Mel Blanc, who was, extraordinary. We had Frank Welker. Hey, look at this.
We had Casey Kasem.
Like you can say that again.
And we had, B.J. Ward.
I think we've stumbled onto a mystery.
And we had Don Messick. And
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
a lot of my voice heroes. And this was the first studio that ever hired a full-time voice director. Voice acting is a very exacting, very precise, and demanding skill. The greatest actors in the world do voiceover. They really are extraordinary interpreters of the written word, and they turn your ears into eyes.
I loved it when the voiceover actors would come in, especially Jonathan Winters.